You think butter is just butter? Think again. Americans eat more than 6 pounds of it every year, but not all of those golden sticks are created equal. Some brands are basically selling expensive grease that ruins your baking, while others are pure dairy gold that can make toast unforgettable. Today, we're exposing the truth about 10 major butter brands, 5 you should avoid at all costs, and 5 that are actually worth every penny. Let's start with America's biggest retailer and their house brand butter, Great Value. Walmart moves over 100 million pounds of this stuff every year. At $2.98 a pound, it seems like a steal. But here's what that Great Value actually gets you. Salt, mountains of it. Great Value butter contains 90 milligrams of sodium per tablespoon. That's 25% more than most premium brands. Why? Because salt is cheap, and it masks the fact that this butter tastes like, well, nothing. In blind taste tests conducted by America's Test Kitchen, tasters consistently described Great Value as aggressively salty and one-dimensional. One professional chef said, and I quote, "It tastes like someone described butter to someone who had never tasted it, and they tried to recreate it using vegetable oil and table salt." The cream source? Unknown. Walmart won't disclose their dairy suppliers, which in the food world is basically code for "we buy from whoever's cheapest this week." And here's the kicker. When you use this in baking, that excess salt throws off every recipe. Your chocolate chip cookies become salt licks. Your croissants taste like you dropped them in the ocean. Professional bakers avoid this brand like it's radioactive, and after testing it myself, I understand why. The butter doesn't even melt properly. It kind of separates, like it's having an identity crisis between being butter and being disappointment. Target's Good and Gather brand launched in 2019 with massive fanfare. They promised quality ingredients at affordable prices. What they delivered was butter so bland, it makes Great Value look gourmet. This butter holds the dubious honor of ranking dead last in Consumer Reports' 2023 Blind Butter Taste Test. Dead last, out of 47 brands tested. The texture? Reviewers called it greasy and waxy. One food blogger wrote, "It coats your mouth like you just ate a candle." But the real crime is the complete absence of aroma. Real butter should smell rich, slightly nutty, maybe even a little grassy. Good and Gather butter smells like nothing. It's the butter equivalent of elevator music. Technically there, but nobody notices. Target sources this from various co-packers, meaning different batches can taste completely different. One week, you might get something vaguely butter-like. The next week, you're spreading yellow-tinted vegetable shortening on your toast. The fat content is all over the place too. Federal standards require butter to be at least 80% fat. Good and Gather barely scrapes by at 80.1%, and some independent tests found batches as low as 79.8%. That missing fat percentage? It matters. It's why your pie crusts turn out tough and your sauces break. Professional chef Thomas Keller once said, "With enough butter, anything is good." He clearly never tried Good and Gather. This one hurts because Cabot is a farmer-owned cooperative from Vermont. We want to root for them. Their cheese is legendary. But their standard butter line? It's a disaster wrapped in nostalgia. First, the salt problem. Cabot's regular salted butter contains 95 milligrams of sodium per tablespoon, the highest of any major brand. It's so salty that the Cooking Light Test Kitchen officially recommended against using it for baking because it overwhelms every other flavor. But salt isn't even the biggest issue. In March 2023, Cabot recalled 48,000 pounds of butter across 6 states. The reason? Potential listeria contamination. Listeria monocytogenes, for those lucky enough not to know, is the bacteria that causes listeriosis, a disease that kills 260 Americans every year. The contamination was traced back to inadequate cleaning procedures at their manufacturing facility. Even when it's not potentially lethal, Cabot butter has consistency problems. Sometimes it's rock hard, straight from the fridge. Other times, it's weirdly soft, like it's been left out for hours. Food scientist Harold McGee tested multiple batches and found water content varying by up to 3%. That's huge in butter terms. The Amazon reviews tell the story. Tastes like salted cardboard. Ruined my grandmother's cookie recipe. And my personal favorite, I'd rather spread mayo on my toast. Cabot makes excellent extra creamy butter at a premium price point. But their standard line? It's trading on a reputation it doesn't deserve. Costco sells 80 million pounds of Kirkland signature butter annually. At $2.50 per pound when you buy in bulk, it's the go-to choice for millions of home bakers. Which makes what happened in 2022 even more devastating. Without any announcement, Costco changed their butter formula. The fat content dropped from 82% to 80%. The moisture content increased. The texture became grainier. And America's home bakers noticed immediately. The Costco subreddit exploded. My cookies are spreading like pancakes. Pie crusts are coming out tough and chewy. This isn't the same butter. Professional baker Stella Parks tested the new formula against the old and found catastrophic differences. Cookies spread 23% more. Croissants lost 30% of their lift. Buttercream frosting broke at room temperature. Why did Costco change? Money. By reducing fat content to the legal minimum and increasing water content, they save approximately 7 cents per pound. Multiply that by 80 million pounds, and you're looking at $5.6 million in annual savings. But here's what really gets me. Costco never admitted the change. Their customer service still insists it's the same great butter. Meanwhile, the Facebook group Costco Butter Crisis 2022 has 45,000 members sharing recipes modified to work with the new inferior formula. The worst part? The old Kirkland butter was actually good. It was 82% fat, made from quality cream, and worked beautifully in recipes. The new version? It's butter in name only. And here it is. The worst butter money can buy. Land O'Lakes Spreadable. Butter with canola oil. Let's start with the obvious lie. This isn't butter. It's 75% butter mixed with 25% canola oil. That's like calling a hot dog spreadable steak. The ingredient list reads like a chemistry experiment. Butter, canola oil, water, salt, natural flavor. Whatever that means. Vitamin A palmitate and beta-carotene for color. Because apparently, the butter oil slurry isn't yellow enough on its own. The taste? Imagine butter that gave up on life, got diluted with cooking oil, then tried to convince you it's still butter through sheer marketing force. Professional tasters described it as greasy, artificial, and vaguely butter-flavored. Yes, it spreads straight from the fridge. You know what else spreads straight from the fridge? Margarine, mayo, cream cheese. That doesn't make them butter, but here's the real crime. Land O'Lakes charges more for this bastardized product than their regular butter. You're literally paying extra for them to dilute butter with cheap canola oil. Cooks Illustrated tested this in recipes, and the results were devastating. Cookies turned out flat and greasy. Pie crusts were tough, sauces separated. One test kitchen note simply read, "Never again." The company markets this as convenience. I call it fraud. If you want spreadable butter, leave real butter on your counter for 30 minutes. Don't pay premium prices for butter-flavored oil. So, we've exposed the butters that are destroying your food and insulting your intelligence. Salty disasters, watery disappointments, and straight-up butter imposters. But here's the thing. There are butters out there worth every penny. Butters that'll make you understand why the French treat this stuff like gold. Butters that can transform a simple piece of bread into something transcendent. If you're as angry about bad butter as I am, hit that subscribe button right now, because what's coming next? The 5 butter brands that are actually worth buying. And number 1, it's going to change how you think about butter forever. let's cleanse our palates with some real butter. Starting with President, the French butter that's been quietly excellent since 1933. President butter is made in Normandy, France, from cows that graze on mineral-rich coastal grass. And before you roll your eyes at the terroir talk, understand this: what cows eat directly affects butter flavor. It's not marketing, it's science. The cream is churned using traditional French methods, slower at lower temperatures, which preserves delicate flavor compounds that high-speed industrial churning destroys. The result? Butter that actually tastes like something. In blind taste tests by Food and Wine magazine, President consistently ranks in the top 3. Tasters describe it as clean, bright, and perfectly balanced. One chef said it tastes like butter is supposed to taste before America forgot what real food was. The texture is sublime. It's firm enough to hold its shape, but creamy enough to spread without tearing bread. At room temperature, it becomes almost whipped. Perfect for finishing sauces or melting into steamed vegetables. At $4.99 per half-pound, it's pricier than supermarket brands. But here's the thing: you need less of it. The flavor is so concentrated that 1 pat of President equals 2 pats of great value in terms of actual butter taste. French pastry chefs swear by it. The Cordon Bleu cooking school uses it exclusively. When you want butter that makes everything better without overwhelming it, President delivers every time. Truly grass-fed might have the most honest name in the butter business. This Irish butter comes from cows that spend 250 days a year outside, eating actual grass, not grain, not corn, grass. Why does this matter? Because grass-fed butter contains 5 times more CLA, conjugated linoleic acid, than grain-fed butter. It has 26% more omega-3 fatty acids. The beta-carotene from grass gives it a golden color that fake butters try to replicate with artificial coloring. But forget the health benefits for a second. Let's talk taste. Truly grass-fed has what butter experts call complexity. There are layers of flavor, a slight nuttiness, a hint of flowers, a clean finish. It's butter with personality. In Cook's Country's 2023 butter rankings, Truly Grass-Fed scored 94 out of 100 points. For comparison, Great Value scored 41. The testers noted its exceptional spreadability and rich grassy notes that enhance rather than mask. In baking, this butter is a game changer. The higher fat content, 82%, means flakier croissants, more tender cakes, and cookies that hold their shape while staying chewy inside. Professional baker Claire Saffitz uses it exclusively for laminated doughs. At $5.49 per half-pound, it's an investment. But it's also proof that cows eating their natural diet produce better butter than cows eating commodity corn. Who would have thought? Vermont Creamery. Cultured butter isn't just butter. It's butter that went to graduate school. Here's what makes it special. They add live bacterial cultures to the cream before churning. These cultures ferment the cream for 24 hours, developing complex flavors you can't get any other way. It's the same process used to make crème fraîche, but taken one step further. The result? Butter, with a subtle tang, like the world's mildest sourdough. It has depth, character, what the French call je ne sais quoi, and what I call actually interesting. Food writer Deb Perlman tested 20 butters for her cookbook and declared Vermont Creamery Cultured the only butter that makes toast taste like a complete breakfast. She's not wrong. This butter is so flavorful you don't need jam. Thomas Keller uses it at the French Laundry. Christina Tosi specifies it for Milk Bar's recipes. When chefs who can afford any ingredient choose this butter, you know it's special. The texture is otherworldly. It's simultaneously firm and creamy, spreading like silk at room temperature. The 86% butterfat content, that's European style, means it melts slower and more evenly than standard American butter. In baking, cultured butter adds complexity without overwhelming. Your chocolate chip cookies develop a subtle tang that balances the sweetness. Your pie crusts become more than just vessels. They become part of the dessert. At $6.99 per half pound, it's not cheap. But this is butter as an ingredient, not just a condiment. It actively improves everything it touches. Plus gras. Even the name is perfect. It comes from plus gras, French for more fat. And with 82% butter fat, it delivers on that promise. This is the butter that launched the European-style butter revolution in America. Before plus gras arrived in 1989, American bakers were stuck with 80% fat butter. That 2% difference, it changes everything. Less water means less splattering when you sauté. Less steam in your pastry means flakier layers. Less moisture in your cookies means they hold their shape. It's not just marketing, it's physics. The flavor is what butter should taste like. Rich, slightly sweet, with a clean finish. No artificial notes, no overwhelming salt. Just pure, concentrated dairy flavor. Walk into any high-end restaurant kitchen in America, and you'll find plus gras. The Culinary Institute of America teaches with it. Dominique Ansel created the cronut with it. When professionals who could choose any butter choose plus gras, that tells you everything. But here's what really sets plus gras apart. Consistency. Every batch tastes identical. Same texture, same performance. In professional kitchens, where consistency is everything, plus gras delivers every single time. Home bakers report their recipes suddenly working better after switching to plus gras. My croissants finally have layers. My buttercream doesn't break anymore. My cookies look like the cookbook photos. At $4.49 per half pound, plus gras costs more than regular butter, but less than imported European brands. It's the sweet spot of quality and value. Professional-grade butter at consumer prices. And here it is, the butter that converted America to grass-fed dairy. The butter that made people realize what they'd been missing. Kerrygold. This Irish butter didn't just enter the American market, it conquered it. In 2022, Kerrygold became the second best-selling butter brand in America, behind only Land O'Lakes. But unlike Land O'Lakes, people actually love this stuff. Kerrygold comes from cows that graze on Irish pastures for 312 days a year. The grass grows in soil enriched by centuries of rainfall and natural fertilization. No grain feeding, no growth hormones, no shortcuts. The color tells the story. It's not yellow, it's gold. Deep, rich gold that comes from beta-carotene in grass. Land O'Lakes adds coloring to achieve what Kerrygold does naturally. In every blind taste test, Food and Wine, Cooks Illustrated, America's Test Kitchen, Kerrygold ranks in the top 2. Descriptions include impossibly creamy, complex but approachable, and the butter other butters want to be when they grow up. The texture is revolutionary. It spreads at fridge temperature without tearing bread. At room temperature, it becomes almost whipped. When melted, it doesn't separate or foam. It becomes liquid gold. But here's what really makes Kerrygold number 1: accessibility. You can find it at Target, Walmart, Kroger, even some gas stations. At $3.99 per half pound, it's cheaper than most artisanal butters while delivering superior quality. Professional chefs use it. Home cooks swear by it. Even butter snobs respect it. Kerrygold proved that mass market doesn't have to mean mediocre. The salted version has just enough salt to enhance flavor without overwhelming. The unsalted is pure, grassy perfection. Both have that distinctive richness that makes you realize this is what butter is supposed to taste like. In baking, Kerrygold's 82% fat content means better everything. Flakier pie crusts, higher croissants, cookies that spread just right. One pastry chef told me, switching to Kerrygold is like upgrading from a Honda to a Mercedes. Everything just works better. But the real test? Eat it plain on good bread. If butter can stand alone and make you close your eyes in pleasure, that's butter worth buying. And Kerrygold? It passes that test every single time. If this butter investigation opened your eyes, hit that like button and subscribe for more food truth bombs. And I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. What butter do you swear by? What butter betrayed you? Did we miss any butter crimes that need investigating? Until next time, remember, life's too short for bad butter.